Hello everybody, my name is Feagle and welcome back to another Nuzlocke adventure. Today we'll be playing Pokémon Heart Gold under hardcore Nuzlocke rules. I'll be keeping all of my rules down in the description for those who want details, but the basics of a hardcore Nuzlocke are, you can only catch the first Pokémon found on each route, if a Pokémon faints it is dead for the rest of the run, you must play on set mode, there's no items in battle, and no overleveling past a gym leader's ace Pokémon. Among a few other things, that's all we need to know, so let's hop into the video. A good friend of mine told me I should pick up Chikorita for this run, and sadly I listened to him, selecting it as my starter. I name it Kentucky before setting off to do the rest of the tutorial, where I meet my rival, Balfar, and I get my first few Pokeballs. Using them, I catch a Pidgey named Delaware and a Caterpie named Maryland. And thankfully, since it evolves way before the first level cap, I go ahead and evolve Maryland into a beautiful Butterfree, scoring me a great Pokemon before even the first gym. I then snag a Rattata named Florida from Sprout Tower and a Geodude named Montana from the nearby Dark Cave. With all of our encounters set, I'm ready to take on Faulkner and his Johto-certified Pokemon. Funnily enough, Kentucky doesn't pair up well into this gym, so I can't use it here. Thankfully, I have Montana to cover up for him in the meantime. Faulkner goes down quick thanks to Rock Stab, slaughtering anything even resembling a bird, and we obtain the first badge without any issues. I then boogie down to Route 32 where I find a Hoppip named Georgia who I won't see again until the Elite Four, then I clean up the local trainer population before reaching the Pokemon Center. It's here I can get the Good Rod, and with it 2 more encounters. Thanks to water in both the ruins of Alpha and Violet City, I can fish there to obtain 2 brand new Pokemon, which are guaranteed to be a Magikarp that I name Alabama and a Poliwag named Louisiana. The nearby cave provides me with yet another encounter, which turns out to be a Sandshrew I named Arizona. I originally planned on using Arizona over Montana, since I use Geodude a lot when I play Pokemon, however, as it turns out, Arizona's move pool is so unbelievably thin that it's basically not an option. Here, pause the video and see for yourself. This means that Arizona sees very little use throughout this run, sadly. I exit out into Route 33, and thanks to the time of day at the time, I can't actually catch anything new here using the grass. However, I don't really want anything from the grass here, since grass is so ass. In all seriousness, I'll be back later for an encounter. I make it to Azalea Town, where I talk to some old dude named Kurt. As it turns out, he's a big deal around here, so when he learns of Team Rocket's return in his town, he sprints off to deal with the issue. And by that, I mean he throws himself dick first into Slowpoke Well and breaks his back on impact with the ground. Big surprise, he asks me to do all the work for him, and I agree because I literally can't say no. It's in the well that I catch a Zubat named WV as a shorthand for West Virginia. I then beat the stuffing out of the Rocket Grunts down here and exit a hero. Kurt then tries to get my phone number, but I say fuck that and leave his house, never to speak to him again. I then approach the Azalea Town gym, home of Bugsy and his bug Pokemon. Since Kentucky doesn't pair up well into this gym, I try not to use him here. Again. After blasting through the trainers, I approach Bugsy, and, well, here's live camera footage of me fighting him. As I try to leave the town, Balfar finds me and challenges me to a battle. I smoke him easily before heading into Elix Forest so I can start catching loose Farfetch'd and finally learn Headbutt from the dude slamming his skull into the tree in the middle of the woods. I can get some brand new awesome encounters using this mechanic. In the forest, I nab a Hoot I named Michigan. In Azalea, I grab an Apom that I named Kansas, and I loop back around to Route 33 so I can headbutt one more tree for Spearow named Wisconsin. Wisconsin is easily much better than Delaware when it evolves. However, the next level cap prevents Wisconsin from doing just that, so I keep Delaware, who I evolve into Pidgeotto, at my side, at least up until after Whitney. Just before a gym, I can get my grubby hands on 2 more encounters, which may help me in the coming battles. First is this little freak, who I name Wyoming in an attempt to offend the least amount of people as possible. Second is locked behind a small gauntlet of trainers on the road north of here. I clean them all up, even the asshole who's packing 2 Magmars, before reaching our next friend, Miss P, who I won't use ever for obvious reasons. Sorry, Mississippi. I then run back into Goldenrod City so I can pass a quiz made for 8-year-olds so I can go beat up an 8-year-old. In Whitney's gym, I crush a few trainers before facing the girl herself. Now, Whitney is a really tough gym leader, notorious for stomping all over teams with her Miltank. Thankfully, I'm packing Montana, whose rock typing can resist all of its stomps. However, this doesn't last forever. Due to flinch hacks and Miltank's high attack, Montana is brought into the red. I sacrifice Florida in order to bring out Delaware, who's immediately crit and forced out after getting just 1 sand attack off. Thankfully, Kentucky can come out and clean up with a Miltank with a combination of Razor Leaf and Synthesis. After the battle, Whitney cries like a little bitch before giving me the badge so I can move on. Thanks to the new level cap, I can box Delaware and bring out Wisconsin, who I evolve into Fearow to be my premier flying type. I then crash into the national park and catch a Spinarak I name Carolina, followed by a Sudowoodo on Route 36, which I name Idaho. Next up is Route 37, where I nab a Growlithe named Nevada, who would normally be a crazy encounter. However, Johto is notoriously stingy with evolution stones, so this won't be an Arcanine for a long time, due to me not knowing I'll basically never get the stone I need. I finally gain access to Ecruteak City, where I run into the burned tower and catch a coughing named NY in reference to its original name, and I meet the angry legendary beasts, who then scramble out of the tower immediately as if I walked in with a spray bottle pointed at them. I decide I'm going to go ahead and do Morty's gym, and Kentucky doesn't pair well into it, so I don't bring it in here. I think I'm noticing a trend. Before the battle, I bring everybody up to the level cap, evolving Montana into a Graveler and Louisiana into a Poliwhirl. However, we won't be needing either of them for this gym, since Morty turns out to be a complete pushover as Maryland alone runs him over with violent amounts of Psychic spam. Thanks to this, we leave the gym with our third badge, since maybe Morty could have invested in his whole team not being just poison types. We then obliterate the Team Rocket Grunt harassing the Kimono Girls, which earns us the HM for Surf. Following that, we head but a few trees in town until we nab and Execute, which, like Arcanine, is completely cucked by Johto's anti-evolution stone policy that plagues the region. With Surf, I can boogie into Mount Mortar, where I catch up a Chopped named Pencil, grab a few items, and trounce out onto Route 42. It's here where I catch a Mareep named California, who I'm giddy to use because, come on, who doesn't love Ampharos? I then waltz into Mahogany Town, but not for long since it isn't my real destination. You see, it's about time I bring up Johto's biggest problem. Yes, even worse than the stone shortage. You see, Johto is very non-linear, as in you could travel around the region very freely, choosing to do a few of the gyms in any order in particular. This means that the next 3 gyms are practically back-to-back in terms of level cap. Chuck sits at 31, Jasmine at 35, and Price at 34. Thankfully, you can fight them in any order, so I choose to ascend with the level caps, despite Price's position at the end. First up is Chuck, so I prepare to travel west to his gym. However, I've got a few encounters I need to get out of the way. I catch a Magnemite named Washington, a Miltank, which I would have named Wisconsin, but that was already taken, so instead it's Nebraska. Then, while I'm in Olivine Town, I fish up a Krabby, which I named Massachusetts, since Massachusetts wouldn't fit in the box, which is great because it's actually 2 encounters. Someone in this town will actually trade you a Voltorb for a Krabby, so if in the future I need a replacement for California, I can nab that in exchange for Massachusetts. While surfing west, I catch an entire Tentacruel that I name Road before I finally make it to Cianwood. Here I finally find Suicune again, who sprints off right afterwards. Some weird dude pulls up on me and tells me I'm whack before challenging me to a battle. It's here that I temporarily forget what Levitate is before losing Montana to a mean-look cursing Haunter. A bad loss, but only my second, which is pretty good for this far in. I decide to swap up the team a little bit, grabbing Arizona to be a ground-type tank for just a little while in Montana's stead. It's finally time for me to challenge Chuck, so I pull up on the gym and get ready to beat his fighting-type ass. Now, Kentucky actually pairs up pretty well into this gym. Crazy, I know, but Chuck's ace is a water type, so Meganium is actually a good counter. However, I don't use Kentucky at all. Come on, did you actually think I was about to? No, I just lead Wisconsin, who sweeps the gym with Aerial Ace. I finally get the HM for Fly, so I gun it back to the mainland, where I head to Route 43 and catch my next Pokemon, that being a Girafarig I name Ohio. I move north, getting mugged by Team Rocket along the way, before I arrive at the Lake of Rage and obliterate the Red Gyarados, because I've already got one of those at home. I then fly south and watch Lance straight up kill a man, before we break into the Rocket hideout underneath Mahogany Town. The fight is incredibly fair and balanced. Yeah, Johto isn't good about levels, so all these rocket guns are about half of what they need to be right now. I mean, come on, Lance has a level 40 Dragonite in here. How can anyone lose... I resurface right after this and get ready to challenge Price's gym. It's here that I assemble a brand new anti-Price team, not including Kentucky because, you guessed it, Meganium is bad into this gym. This team is led by Washington, who has evolved into a Mangaton by this point. He easily destroys Feel, but Piloswine is a bit much for the poor boy, so I switch out Nebraska as a pivot. However, poor Nebraska gets frozen, and deeming him unimportant, I sack him as a safe switch into Road, who easily KOs Piloswine. Finally, his Dugong comes out, and Washington comes back and easily takes care of it. With our next badge in hand, we fly west to take on Jasmine. However, I forgot about the whole Medicine Lighthouse crap you gotta do beforehand, so after taking care of that, I assemble my ace team. Which almost didn't include Kentucky, who, I repeat, is terrible into this gym. However, he has one distinct purpose, which makes him exclusively Okay. I decided to teach Road Dig and bring in Pencil to use his fighting stab on the steel types. With my whole team ready, I challenge Jasmine. She leads Magnemite, who is easily killed by Pencil, however he is forced out when Steelix shows up. I pivot to Kentucky, for his one true purpose, that being tanking a ground type move, baiting out Iron Tail, which allows Road to come in, easily tank the hit, and killing it with Surf, earning us our 7th badge. Finally, I evolve California into an Ampharos and blast my way over to Goldenrod, where I grab a Team Rocket disguise and sneak into their base inside the radio station. Said disguise is immediately ruined by my rival, Balfar, dickhead, before I then take on some asshole with 6 coughings, which no doubt all have self-destruct. Thankfully, California destroys all of them, allowing us access into the next area. It's here where I meet Balfar again, and he challenges me to a battle. I once again lose a Pokemon to a curse-spamming, confused RNG mean-look Haunter. Yeah, I'm getting tired of this shit too. I box California and move back to the rocket base with Pencil instead. We easily clean up the rest of the tower, beating this guy named Archer. Wait, that's it? Wait, that's all? I'm not joking, that's a wrap for Team Rocket. Yeah, that was the whole villain team right there. Okay, I guess it's Gym 8 time. Well, actually, before I could do that, I need to get a few more encounters for the road. First being a mighty Heracross named Tennessee, which I am giddy about using and abusing. Then Swinub on the Ice Path that I name Iowa, which should be useful in the Dragon Gym. Maybe. Speaking of the Ice Path, it's here that I struggle with more puzzles, of course, before reaching the final gym town, Blackthorn City. I decide that maybe I should prepare my team for what will obviously be a hard gym, so I decide to evolve Iowa into a Mamoswine. However, that will take a little extra work to do. You see, Piloswine only evolves into Mamoswine when it learns the move Ancient Power. Funny thing is, Piloswine only learns that at level 1. Mine is almost level 40. So I track down a heart scale from an early section of the game, book it to the move tutor, and trade it for Ancient Power. Then I finally evolve Iowa into his full potential. Not only is Mamoswine a great Pokemon, but also does fantastic against Lance in the Elite Four, so I'll be sure to hold on tight to this guy.
Maybe in a lot of ways it was foreshadowing.
With my capstone team member ready, I can finally take on Claire. Now, despite how technically poorly Kentucky should go into this gym, cough cough, I lead him into the Gyarados. This is not only to absorb Intimidate, but also whittle the beast down. I'm forced out after some time, and Wisconsin comes in to finish it off. Right after Dragonair comes out, I bring in Road to absorb some hits and chip it before Tennessee comes out and kills it. Next, our Ace Kingdra comes out. Here I should switch, but for whatever reason, I decide Tennessee has that dog in him and leave him in on a Hydro Pump, which obviously kills him. Not sure what I thought was going to happen, but whatever. I send out Pencil to whittle it down more, however he gets packed up just as quickly. So I decide Iowa can kill him with Ice Shard, and can you guess what happens to Iowa? Yeah, not my finest hour, but thankfully Wisconsin manages to eke out a kill and secure us a last-minute badge. Awkward, losing Tennessee and Iowa here, but whatever, my team is still really strong without them, even though I spent forever evolving that damn Mamoswine. Claire throws a hissy fit and refuses to give me the badge, so I'm forced to go prove myself in the Dragon Cave underneath town. There, I catch a Dratini, which you may think is great, however, the level caps in Johto are so low that I'd be leaving it as Dragonair even past Lance. It's here that I take a quiz for 5-year-olds, which somehow Smooth Brain Claire couldn't pass, so I'm finally given the badge I should have earned already. Now I finally have access to the last few routes and the Pokemon League, but before I can depart, I've got to beat the Kimono Girls in Echo Tree City as some sort of final test. As it turns out, Balfar got his ass beat just before I showed up, but I should be fine. That guy is bad at this whole trainer thing anyways. Wisconsin takes care of the first one no problem, but I start sweating as an Espeon comes out, but Washington ekes out a win. Then Flareon comes out. Knowing it has bad physical bulk, I send Wisconsin to one-shot it with fly shit. Well, at least I've still got Delaware. After the battles, the Kimono Girls start freaking out, something about a bird, and I climb the bell tower on the north side of town, where I catch a Haunter named Texas and climb to the top. I then bitch away from the legendary Ho-Oh, because legendaries are cowardice in my book. I then blast my way through Victory Road, which is really difficult as always, and just before I walk further in, I realize something about Texas the Haunter. It should be a Gengar by now. You see, I turned off impossible evolutions before I started this run, so I could use some cool Pokemon I normally couldn't. Or so I thought. As it turns out, I've actually forgotten to turn the feature on, so knowing that it should have been, I evolve it using PK Hex, since I had every intention of it happening anyways. Once again, my shit memory hurts my odds. Speaking of the odds, it looks like I've got another team slot for defying them. I can catch another Pokemon here on Victory Road, that being Onix. Neat. I name him Arkansas, or Arkansas if you're cultured, and promptly forget about him. It's after this that at the tail end of Victory Road, that Balfar challenges me to one last battle. I'm caught slightly unawares, but I should be fine. Arizona takes care of Sneasel easily, since that thing learns like no ice moves, but he's forced to switch out on Golbat. Washington comes in and easily beats it down, baiting out Typhlosion. I bring out Road, who manages to take it on at a 1v1, but is too low health for his Kadabra, so Washington comes out to beat it. However, he only manages to paralyze it before hitting himself Confusion and being forced out. I send out Kentucky for literally no reason before switching to Delaware, who KOs it. Magneton comes out and Arizona easily destroys it before his Haunter hits the field. I quickly switch to Oh. I was supposed to switch to Delaware. That marks a third Pokemon dead to a Haunter this run. Well, for whatever reason, right after this, I decide Road also has that dog in him and send him to his obvious death before finally sending in Delaware to actually take care of things. Yeah, no, I played like shit here. But a win's a win, so we carry on. With Balfar defeated for good, I finally arrive at the Pokemon League. With the location discovered, I decide to raise my odds by nabbing a few last-minute encounters. I evolve that Togepi egg and name him Jersey, grab a Chinchou from the starting town that I name Puerto for our boys down south, headbutt a tree for a Pineco named Indiana, catch a Bellsprout named Oklahoma, get the Gift Eevee named Oregon from Goldenrod, which I never evolve, catch a Wooper that I name Colorado, and search for a Tauros that takes up the mantle of New Mexico. Ace team in hand, I return to the Pokemon League and begin to evolve basically everything I think I'll need. Now, funny thing is about Johto, like I said, it's stingy as fuck with evolution stones. And in all likelihood, this is because of the Pokeathlon. It's a building that you can access around the same time as Whitney's Gym, and in it you can compete in a variety of contests for a few points which you can use to buy specific rewards, which includes several evolution stones. However, you just can't buy whatever you want. No, that'd be too easy. No, you have to wait for specific days of the week where the shop inventory changes so you can buy the right thing. Well, I don't have time for that shit, so I add it to my inventory. I know, a lot of people may see this as wrong, but let's be honest, I can do this the easy way, or the hard way, and by that point I was getting tired of Johto's shit. With all the evolution items I need in hand, all from the list of Pokeathlon and bug-catching rewards of course, I evolve up the team to Aces to beat the Elite Four. However, I struggle to find answers to Lance. If only there was some sort of Ice type in this box, some sort of Pokemon that if given an evolution stone perhaps could evolve into an Ice type, but I can't figure it out. If only there was something here that could get Ice Beam on level up, I just don't see it. Sadly, I just have to make do with teaching Puerto Blizzard a shame. Then I grab my Ace team, which sadly doesn't include Kentucky. As usual, he pairs up horribly into most of the Elite Four, so I choose to leave him behind. Maybe one day one of my starters will see the champion. Will and his psychic types are out first. Washington easily cleans up Xatu and Jinx using his dual stabs. Then I send out Jersey to beat down on Executor. Slowbro comes out, so I switch to Puerto, who barely manages to KO it with Discharge after a lot of effort. The next Xatu comes out, so I pivot to Washington, who easily brings it and Will down for good. Next is Koga and his poison types, which should be easy with all of his dual typings making him weak to my team. Jersey easily cleans up Ariados before I switch to Nevada to take on Foragers. It goes down quick, forcing out Muck. Nevada easily takes it down before Crobat comes out. I switch to Washington as it spams double team, but several no-miss magnet bombs take it down. Venomoth comes out next, so a quick switch to Jersey ends in its defeat. 2 down, 2 to go. Bruno and his notorious fighting types are up next, and I tend to trend towards having a team a little too good against fighting types, so hopefully this should be a breeze. Jersey easily destroys Hitmontop, Hitmonchan, and Onix in only a few hits, but is forced out by Machamp. I decide that Puerto is best suited for this, so I send him out to land a Discharge. I almost shit my pants as he nearly dies, but Puerto toughs it out long enough for me to switch to Nevada, who takes it out with a series of flamethrowers as it gets paralyzed hacked into the ground. Hitmonlee comes out and meets the same fate, and Nevada picks up another KO. With Bruno defeated, I only have one Elite Four member left to face, Karen and our Dark types. Jersey easily takes care of Umbreon before nabbing an Omni Boost from Ancient Power. High on the stat-changing drugs, he sweeps through everything other than my favorite Dark type, Vileplume, who gets killed by Nevada. Now, with the Elite Four defeated, it's time for the big man himself, Lance. Lance leads with Gyarados, and I lead with my wild card, Billy. Yeah, you remember Masachu? Yeah, he, evolved into Electrode. I O-coat the Gyarados before he uses a super move and kills himself on the spot to get a safe entry into the Dragonite. I bring out New Mexico, who intimidates him, and expecting outrage, I switch into Washington. However, he just uses Safeguard. So, knowing Fire Blast is coming, I switch to Puerto, who whiffs his one-shot at Blizzard. Literally the only reason I brought this thing. New Mexico comes out and beats on it for some time before getting annihilated by Hyper Beam. I bring out Jersey to beat it, and on a whim I click Ancient Power, which turns out to be the right decision as Jersey picks up an Omni Boost. Aerodactyl comes out, shockingly outspeeds, but that doesn't matter because Jersey locks in with a second Omni Boost. Now here I get a little overconfident and hit the speed up button because of double stats. This is obviously over. I ignore Jersey dying, I ignore Washington getting parahacked to death, and I ignore Nevada almost dying because I basically won, right? Yeah, here I should have lost horribly considering how reckless I got at the end. However, I shit you not, Lance whiffs 2 Dragon Rushes in a row and gets crit by Nevada. I'm not joking. The Hand of God reached down and physically removed Lance from his champion slot because no way in hell is that not divine intervention. But hey, a win's a win, baby. Champion time, baby. Woo! Easy. Easiest game I've ever played. All skill, no luck. I never get lucky after all. In all seriousness, this shouldn't have been a win. RNG is typically a run ender, but I guess the dice were just in my favor this time around. I hope you all enjoyed the slightly shorter form content that I'm putting out this time around. I know it's a third of what I normally put out in terms of length, but I was checking to see if it would catch more views or attention than the other stuff. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. I had a blast getting this done, even if I was tired with Johto's shit by the end of this, but it was still a good time all around. There will be more videos coming out very soon, considering how much content I have in the box. I just need to edit it, and since I'm so slow and trying a bunch of new things, it might be about a day or so before the next one hits the field. But thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video.